for joining us for this documentary. I hope that you took away something from it, good or bad. If you still hate it or if you love it, you learned something. And hopefully you also take away that the Fleming community is amazing. They have great teachers, they have great, wonderful students like D. Arthur. Hey, D. Arthur. And again, I just want to thank, you can bring the chairs out. I want to thank the Fleming, thank you, Principal Adams, thank you, Ms. Mason, thank all of Fleming for allowing us to come and share your stories. Also, I want to take a moment to just point out a couple people who were really passionate about this project. Vladimir, our photographer, who worked very hard on this. Stephanie, standing next to him, helped produce as well. Nympha, you would stand and wave, she helped produce. Rayon, who's behind the camera there, is also a big part. I don't think Anna is here. She's our assistant news director, but Tiffany there, this was her dream project, actually. Thank you so much. And I would also like all of our guests to come up who know that they are going to be a part of the panel. Please come on up to the stage. I hope that you have questions because we are eager to answer them. Tiffany will have a mic, and so will Stephanie. Just raise your hand and they will come to you in the crowd, and we will be taking questions. Oh yes, Mr. Adams, you can sit right here. D. Arthur, you can come and sit right by me. Avis, and you all met them in the film. You're right here. Dr. Martinez, Principal Adams, Mrs. Mason right there, and Ms. Provost is right by D. Arthur. And you all saw them in the film, but I'll introduce them again. Our superstar, D. Arthur Edwards. D. Arthur's mother, Avis Provost. Mrs. Mason, Principal Adams, and also joining us tonight from the district is Division Superintendent, Dr. Luz Martinez. Thank you all for joining us. Do we have any questions before we get started?
I got you. You know this. I use my inside voice. I'm a retired school nurse, 35 years. And when I heard grandmother interested in helping someone, Mr. Adams, you directed her to the VIP program, Dr. Martinez. Did we? Yes, ma'am. All right, grandmother, you go VIP? That's what we need. That's the way you get the community in there. I did a lot of that before it was in vogue. But I just want to make sure grandma, and I'm a fit for the school nurse at Fleming.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm supervisor, but I worked part-time at the hospital district before I became a school nurse in 2 different districts. But I did a lot of things, and we got some plans to do some health-based things for Fleming.
Thank you so much.
Remember, you can have a wonderful educational program vetted by research, master teachers, Ms. Mason, but if you don't have a healthy student sitting in that chair, forget it. Pass that on, Dr. Martinez. We gotta have healthy children. SPED has that concept down. Before you get a SPED referral initiated, first thing they want, vision and hearing. He may not be catching on, or she may not can hear the curriculum in the classroom. So let's start with healthy students, VIP parents, grandparents, and the community. There we are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us. On that line, Dr. Adams, or Principal Adams, look at me speaking into your future.
I'll take it.
Principal Adams, you mentioned in the documentary that you have been working very hard to get the community involved, and you haven't gotten the support that you had hoped that you would get from the community. What are some of the things that the school needs the community to strap up their bootstraps and come to the school to do?
So I think that the biggest thing that the community can do is just be visible and be present and come to us. I've started to develop some partnerships with opening up programs for students to participate in entrepreneurship type of things or arts, but also what we really need are a mentorship and some social and emotional support for our children. So what I'm looking for is different members in the community to provide that support for us so that we can ensure that every student is getting every single thing that they need. At the campus, we're going to give them what they need instructionally, and then we're going to support as best we can their social and emotional needs and their vocational desires as well. However, if there is a gap in the fullness of the support that we can provide them, I would say it's bringing those community members in, bringing those organizations in, because we have to get the entire student, we have to the whole student, the healthy student, and the mind and their emotions is a part of that as well.
You often say too, you're welcome to come to the campus and see for yourself how this is going. Open invitation, so all of you know that he always says that. So
I have yet to deny someone from coming to visit my campus because I believe that I have a great thing going to Fleming Middle School. So I want for you to come. I want for you to see what's going on. Because for those who have had more critical things to say about what's going on at the campus, they have not come to visit. And so I implore you to come. Now, don't just pop up. You need to call and set up. VIPs approved. You need to call and make sure that, we can accommodate you. But I'm not hiding anything that's going on the campus. We want for you to see what's going on the campus. We want to increase our enrollment. And in order for those types of things to happen, you need to feel comfortable with the instruction and the instruction we're providing your students and the opportunities that we'll be able to have set forth for your students when they leave us.
I want to say too, because we got this question a lot when we were doing our Focus on Fleming stories. A lot of people would say, well, why Fleming? Why did you choose Fleming? Or we would hear often, and you heard this too, well, the district gave Fleming to you because they have it together. And I want to make sure that you all know that we chose Fleming. We at KPRC too looked at the schools that were in the feeder patterns to the three schools that were, the three high schools that were chosen to be NES schools and the 28 schools that were going to be following through that feeder pattern. And we looked at Fleming and we saw the demographics, and we knew that traditionally many of the kids who go to Fleming end up going to Phyllis Wheatley High School. And if you've been following this closely, like I believe everybody in here probably has, you know that Phyllis Wheatley High School was the focal point of the TEA and kind of spurred this takeover because of the academic performance, the consecutive years of academic underperforming. And so we chose Fleming for that reason, and Mr. Adams and Mrs. Mason and all of the teachers there were gracious enough to allow us in at a very tough time, so we appreciate that. Are there more questions? Mrs. Massey?
My question is about the time and things. I'm lost on that. It looks like they're moving so fast because they got to be at from one point to the other point. And I don't know how you get from what's the level, what's the scores, or where we got the number, where we got to be at.
I can take that. So the timing and the pacing this year was set for math and ELA to align to 45 to 55-minute lessons. And then at the end of that time, all the students are given a demonstration of learning, which is tentatively 10 minutes. So in that 10 minutes time, they're expected to answer 5 questions based on what they just learned 45 minutes prior. And as far as the level and what pacing and grade they're supposed to reach in that out of that 5 questions, mastery is 4 or more. So 4 or 5, they get a ticket to the learning center, the team center, where they do independent work because they've proven their mastery and understanding of that lesson. If they're less than 4, 3, 2, or 1, or none in some instances, they remain in the class with the teacher, and we give them an additional 35 minutes of instruction based off of what they just learned in a modified setting with smaller members in the classroom.
And I can expound on that. So double block classes, for those of you who have been in education, is not a new thing. We have had where we would schedule a kid in first period, they would have math, and then in second period, they would have math intervention. But it's the exact same teachers, the exact same classroom, the students don't move. So the concept of double blocking classes is not new. What we're doing, what is new is in the middle of that lesson, after you provided the tier 1 instruction, the students are receiving that exit ticket. Again, it's called a demonstration of learning, but exit tickets, again, are not a new concept. They have been around for years because we want to know, what have the students mastered? What have the students learned? What do I need to do to change up my lesson for the next class period or for the next day? So the concept of exit tickets, again, are not new. We put that exit ticket, that demonstration of learning, in the middle of that double block, and then instead of in a traditional double block setting, all the students having to stay in that classroom and you got them spread out across, and this group is going to do this, and that group is going to do this, and this group is going to do that, and you're having to ping pong around the classroom and monitor all those different groups of students working on those different assignments. Now what we've done is say, well, these kids got it. So they can go to the team center and they're under the direction of the learning coaches who are there to monitor, make sure they are continuing to work and show their mastery, while the students who did not show mastery on the exit ticket get the support that they need from the teacher. So now the teacher is providing, again, a smaller group setting, but still direct instruction. So I hear the concerns of my students about the timing. The student who made the comment, that's not something that is just that one student. I've talked with them about that. Students who need additional time, we have a process for that. We have an IAT process. So students who need additional time on assignments, we start to gather documentation, call meetings with the parents and teachers to provide whatever support that student needs to be successful. Special education students, we meet with the R committee to ensure that they are in the right setting. We have settings where some students receiving special education services can manage within a tier 1 classroom and hit that 45-minute demonstration of learning 35-minute. But there are other students who cognitively don't need to be in a self-contained class, but still need a bit more support. So we have a resource class for those kids. Those students are going to get that 45-minute lesson that the other students get in 80 minutes of time. So we have different versions of what's going on to make sure that every student is receiving the support that they need. But come to the campus and you'll see that.
And I'm gonna piggyback, I'm gonna add something to what he said about the exit ticket versus the DOL. Like you said, it's just new terminology, it's nothing new. The difference is, as a veteran teacher, I will say that previously, an exit ticket was literally just that. 2 questions, maybe 3, they do it, they're giving it to you as they exit. We don't do anything to it or with it until the next day or maybe the day after. The demonstration of learning, it's immediate. So response to intervention, response to low mastery is immediate in the day. And oftentimes, if we catch it enough, like if there's a high-level question that the majority of the classes got incorrect, we have time to take 5 minutes to snip that question, pop it in on their do now the next day. They see that question immediately, and we go over that question in the lesson, and they continue it on. So it's immediate turnaround.
We have a question that was presented to us online. I think that this would be a good one for Dr. Martinez to answer. I'm going to read it verbatim. Okay. It says, why is Mr. Miles destroying all the extracurricular activities in the name of academics? I am an HISD teacher at an NES high school and have watched over 50 of my own students leave to go to schools where they can get well-rounded education with the opportunity to participate in sports, band, debate, and other activities. We are losing our best students. We are falling even farther behind in our ability to compete with other districts. How would you respond to that question?
So I will respond by saying we do have different opportunities for students to participate in extracurricular activities. And you can speak about that at Fleming. We also have Principal Caesar from McReynolds in here, and by no means are we destroying the extracurricular programs. We still have those. Some of it may have slightly varied based on timelines or after school activities, etc. But for the most part, they are being kept in all the schools. And I urge the parents that have concerns about these kinds of things to come and talk to us, and maybe we can come to the table and we can figure out what are the things that we can creatively do differently, rather than we don't have this that we used to have, or how can we pivot from that, and in what other ways we can continue to have different things that fit the model of the NES. Because one of the main concerns and the main focuses of our work is ensuring that our kids have a variety of opportunities, but we gotta start by ensuring that our kids can read, can write, can communicate effectively, right? And without those basic knowledge standards that will propel them to a future that we want for all kids, we are not going to be able to continue to be successful. So it's the whole thing, but I don't think that we are destroying the programs. I think there's slight variations in different schools, but again, that's why we talk to the principals, and I encourage the community to talk to the principals and ask questions and say, hey, my kid used to participate in this activity. Do we still have it? And if we don't have it, how can we make something different? What other creative solutions can we come up with to make sure that my child has a rounded experience in the school? I mean, I'm a grandma, and I always tell my daughter, ensure that your daughters can have opportunities outside of what they have in the classroom. Everything is important, right? But it first starts with a great education. And when we have kids that cannot read at grade level, cannot write at grade level, that's concerning as well. And we have to prioritize certain things over others, because we want to make sure that our kids have a better shot at a future that we all want for them. Yeah.
You made a great point about being able to go and talk to your principal or your teacher, and that made me remember a point that I wanted to make, because Mr. Adams is very active with his staff. He's very involved. So it's easy to have a conversation with him, and we understand that every campus is different, and we know that while Fleming has found a way to make this work, we know that there might be other challenges at other schools. So it's important to make that statement that while it works this way at Fleming, everybody's situation is different, every student's situation is different, every teacher's situation is different, and we understand that. If you have more questions, I would love for you to walk toward Tiffany, who's on this side. If you could raise your hand, Tiffany, or Stephanie on this side. That way I see you and I don't miss your question. In the meantime, though, Ms. Provost, I want to ask you, because you said in the beginning that it felt like a jail. You were not very you felt uneasy about the new education system. You still say it's scary, but you say that DeArthur is thriving under the system. At what point during the school year did you say, because I know you were watching like a hawk.
Yes, she was.
Y'all don't do that. At what point in the school year did you say, okay, my kid is learning under this system? When did it seem like it was a little
I stay logged into the grade system every day. Every day I'm looking, what you're missing, what does he need to do. I'm just watching the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Mm-hmm. So more than anything, I'm watching the numbers. If there's something wrong, I email. I talk to Mr. Adams. I say, Mr. Adams, you know what? DJ wanna be here, so it's just gonna be me and you. We just gonna have it. When I have a problem, you know, he probably got me blocked on speed dial or something, because I call, I email. I'm like, where's Mr. Adams? Where is Mr. I need to talk to Mr. Adams. So I say, you know, if you wanna be here, this is what we're gonna do. Every time I have a problem, I'm coming to you, we're gonna work it out. And that's where we're at, and it's working.
How is DeArthur doing?
He's doing fine. Grades are good. I can't complain. No behavior problems. It's working for now, Mr. Adams.
You have another question, Stephanie?
Mainly for the principal and teacher. We know that a parent's attitude often rubs off on the kids. And I can imagine at the beginning of the year, you had lots of kids barking about the NES system. Have you jumped that hurdle? Are they over it?
From a teacher standpoint, at the beginning, I tried to, as best, ensure my parents, we were in this thing together. The kids were afraid. I was nervous. But when I joined on with Principal Adams, I asked them specifically, I was like, hey, let me go back down to 6th grade, because I've done 6th, 7th, and 8th, higher, lower. I said, but let me go down to 6th grade because they're new. I'm new to Fleming, and that's a foundation. And with a stronger foundation, you can build any house on top of that. And so as the time went on, I started seeing the students, you know, their attitudes that were, they heard the community, they watched the news, well, you know, it's supposed to be, you know, this and this and that. So as they saw what was going on, their attitudes did shift a lot, and I started to see more and more parental involvement, more parental buy-in, and trust and belief in the system. I hate calling it a system, but trust and belief in the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can say the same. Ms. Provost was not lying when she said she was waiting for me at the door a few times. But I do my best to ensure that I'm making myself available to the families and I'm making myself available to the community, because it is a larger goal of mine to ensure that there's transparency and that the notoriety that Fleming once had in the community, the bastion and the beacon that it was, we can get to and surpass at some point. But we cannot do that if the community does not see the good in Fleming. You know, about 4 or 5 years ago, things were not looking great at the campus. It was not the place to send your kids, just in general. But since I've been there, I've been a part of the team that helped turn it around. But once that reputation is on you, once that stink is on you, once that funk is on you, it's difficult to get past that without people coming in and see what's going on the campus and see the great that we have. So I feel as though when I'm communicative with the parents and I'm transparent with the parents and I hear them out, because I'm a parent as well with students in HISD. And so I want to make sure that they know that I hear you, I understand every concern that you have, and you should advocate for your child. And what I'll do is ensure that I am ensuring that my teachers are providing them the best instruction, that I'm trying to find programs to develop and build them to be a more productive citizen, and that I'm keeping your child safe and sending them home with 10 fingers and 10 toes like you brought them here.
Right over there.
I just wanted to say thank you guys for doing this. This has been a very challenging year. I'm here as a teacher who wanted to support it. I've been reading a lot about it because I'm within the district as well. And we are also going through transitions. We do some aspects of it, and then we're going to do more of it supposedly next year. And so I, as also a documentary filmmaker, I also wanted to check it out and support it as well. And I think with this being such a historical moment in time, you know, as a person in the classroom, I always ask myself, how can you be on the right side of history? And it's been a very challenging day-to-day conversation with self, execution with, you know, the instruction, and then just seeing the, you know, just seeing the outcomes and seeing how it is affecting our students, seeing how it is affecting our teachers, colleagues, everybody from top to bottom. And I just feel like I definitely wanted to just say how I appreciate you guys for taking a moment and recording that slice of life, because I found it to be very hard to communicate with people what is happening this year. And I think something like this helps to, even though it's a slice of life, it helps to articulate that when you're going through a lot of different aspects of it and you're in the moment and you're just trying to do the best that you can. And then from that other standpoint of being, you know, a documentary lover, I want to ask you that question of what are y'all going to do about the next season? Because I'm hoping you will continue. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like I would like to also know how we can share, you know, this particular one, and then what are y'all going to do next? Because this is still an open situation.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. Oh, That's what it's about, right?
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
so this will be aired on KPRC2 at a later date. Just stay tuned. We haven't officially announced the air date that it'll air on TV, and once it airs on TV, you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on our website. Am I right, Tiffany?
You are. It'll be on our website later tonight.
Oh, it'll be on our website later tonight. You can share the link. There you go. Also, Dr. Martinez, you heard that question. Can we come back next year?
You're always welcome.
Also, I think it's really cool because unintentionally, I was telling Mr. Adams and Ms. Mason that we accidentally followed 6th graders a lot this year. But it's really cool though because it works out divinely actually because they're going to be 7th graders and they're going to be 8th graders, and as Ms. Mason says, it takes a little bit longer to determine whether something is truly effective or making a true impact. So we will be able to check in with Arthur and see if he still wants to be a mechanic and how school's going and if he still loves gym. And we haven't forgotten about you, Arthur. You're up here. How was the first year with no recess in 6th grade? Did you manage?
It was all right. I had my friends.
You had what?
I had my friends.
You had your friends and you had gym class, so that's good. What was it like having a camera crew in your school and having a reporter asking you questions all the time?
It was funny.
It was funny. You were laughing at us? Okay. What was your favorite part of school this year?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I know your favorite class was Art Thinking and Miss Martin. You enjoyed those classes, but is there a moment that you really, really enjoyed this year? I'll get back to you on that. Think about it. And then I want to ask you, Dr. Martinez, because there were some things that were mentioned in the story, particularly emerging bilingual students and the special education and them having to be in classrooms where things are moving very quickly. We did a story, and again, I encourage you to use that QR code because we've done several stories on how the new education system has been working and filming all school year long, and you can find those stories. But one of those stories was me going in the classroom with the emerging bilingual students who at the beginning of the year spoke no English at all.
Right.
God bless them. And the teachers who don't speak Spanish, but they're managing, but it's also very difficult. And as that parent said, a child being in a class that's moving so fast with so many challenges, is the district planning to address this concern?
Certainly, we recognize that we do have room for improvement, right? You heard the testimonies that were presented in terms of how do we make sure that we support all students, right? Because emerging bilingual students, special ed students, gifted and talented students, and then your average students, they all have needs. They all have different needs. And the challenge for teachers has always been, how do I make sure that I reach everybody, right, within the constraints of the time that I have them in front of me. The NES model lends itself, as this amazing teacher stated, it lends itself to that differentiation and that immediate understanding of where each of my kids are in terms of mastery of the taught objective, right? And so we are in the process of revamping the supports, the training, the systems, to the tracking of ensuring that all these students that need specialized support receive it. So we're going to be heavily providing training to the teachers, to the administrators, because we do understand that there are challenges, right? We are by no means where we need to be in the NES model. It's a work in progress, but education is like success. It's a road under construction all the time, right? I've been in education for 32 years, and I can tell you that every day I learn something new. Every day I hear a grade way of doing this differently and better, and to reach out more students, and that's what we want. We are in an understanding of continuous improvement, but great leadership matters, right? Great teaching matter, what we call high quality instruction, that matters, and that is the center and the focus of our priorities. Building that high quality instruction pipeline where teachers understand that we might give you the lesson plans, the PowerPoints, the DOLs, right? But you still have to internalize the lesson, right? You still have to work at it. When you are in front of your kids, you have to know, I have 2 students that are special ed in my class, and what are their needs? Okay, how am I going to address their needs within this lesson? I have 2 bilingual students in my class. How am I going to provide the scaffolding and the support that they need, right? So that's part of the internalization process that we couldn't give a teacher. There's no magic formula. That's why, as educators, we have to do the work, right? We're just giving you, like you said, the surgeon, you give them the files, right? But they still have to look at the file and learn and do the research before they can prescribe any medications or determine any surgery that is needed. And so that is part of the effort, and we're certainly committed to improving. We have heard the community, we have heard the teachers, and we know that we want to ensure that all kids' needs are served.
Thank you. Are there any more questions as we prepare to wrap up the night? Mrs. Massey?
I have one more.
Okay.
Really, I want to direct Ms. Provost and
We can't hear.
the author. Is it the author?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with the challenges of day-to-day going to school and your environment, and how do you overcome everything you do? Because I'm so proud of you. You're doing such a good job.
I just get the work done and get through the day.
He says that he just gets the work done. He gets through the day. And as we wrap up, last question, if any of you would like to share, this goes out to anybody. What do you hope people take away from this experience and from hearing your testimonies about the school year?
We start with the students.
What do you hope people learn from watching your experience on the screen?
That Fleming is a good school, y'all should come see.
Did y'all hear him? He said he wants you to know that Fleming is a good school and y'all should come see.
That's awesome.
I hope they take away, I know it's a lot of apprehension, but take it from us. We're learning. We're in it together. We're getting through it.
I'll add to that, I'll piggyback off of that there. Fleming is a great school. We are learning. This is year 1 down. Next year, come August 1st for us, August 12th for the students, we begin year 2. And we will have not just soil to build on, we'll have concrete.
I just want to encourage everyone who feels a bit of trepidation regarding the NES system. If you have children that are going to NES campus or will be going to campus that will be NES for the fall, go and speak with the principal. The principal is the one that is implementing the NES model at that campus. And so it is solely on them to ensure that they are providing everything that the student needs. And I also just want to give a shout out to my 8th graders who are in Japan right now. Get back home safely.
And I will say on my end, I am so appreciative of Superintendent Miles. And bringing this process to Houston ISD and ensuring that we provide the students the best education possible. It's not easy, right? It's not without challenges. I'm glad that you were able to spend a year at Fleming living the life of an NES campus, right? I invite the community to understand that just like in Fleming, with the great things that are happening there, we do have all the other NES campuses that are experiencing the same things, right? In a little different way, right? Because every campus is different, but they are experiencing the same successes. They're seeing how the kids are becoming thinkers, right? And collaborators and communicators, and they're literally informed, and they are discovering their potential. The beauty of the children is they don't know how much they can accomplish until someone tells them, yes, you can, and I'm going to help you get there, right? And that's our goal as educators. None of us chose to be in this profession for any other reason than to make a difference in the life of children. And that is the commitment that we have in the with the NES program. But I will also like to remind everyone that we do have many schools in HISD that are doing amazing things as well. And they are non-NES, right? They are doing amazing things. We are bringing this work of equity for these schools that need it the most, because without that, kids that look like me and like many of you will not be able to achieve the dream of a well-rounded education where the sky is the limit. I mean, I'm sure we can all share our stories, right? And know that education changes starts for kids. And that's what we want to ensure, that all kids receive the best quality education possible, and they learn to believe in themselves, and they can stand in here and face the public and the scrutiny and be on camera and those kinds of things, right? I don't know about you, but when I was a child, I couldn't do that, right? I was not secure enough to do that, but that's what we're trying to do. So thank you, KPRC, for doing this, and at Fleming, thank you, Principal Allen, for opening your campus, the amazing teachers and students of Fleming, the parents that allow this as well and continue to support. Please come to the schools, come to Fleming, come to McReynolds, come to R. Martinez, right? I always confuse C. Martinez with R. Martinez. R. Martinez, Bruce Elementary. We have many great examples of schools that are thriving, that are doing great work for kids. And so thank you so much for the opportunity to be part of this. That's all I can say.
Really quick. Oh, we have one more question?
One more, yeah. Hi, thank you. I just want to commend the principal at the school. I am a leader at one of the HISD schools, and I have to say, if you don't believe, it's not going to happen. I heard you say that you do have some teachers who remain professional, and that speaks volumes about you and your leadership and the message and the communication for the initiative that you're trying at your school, and I commend you for that. It's very important. So great job.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez mentioned that she, at DeArthur's age, wouldn't be able to go in front of the camera and say anything. And I just want y'all to know, while DeArthur might be a child of few words, DeArthur approached me and earned his spot. We were at the campus doing interviews, and I had gone through his cohort, and I had interviewed like 4 or 5 kids, and we were wrapping up, and he came up to me and he said, "Excuse me, when are you going to interview me?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I can. Let me ask Mr. Adams," and make sure your mom signed it. My mom signed that paper. So DeArthur earned his spot. Thank you, Dr. Martinez. Thank you, Principal Adams, Mrs. Mason, Ms. Provost, and DeArthur for all joining us up here. Thank you all for coming, being a part of this conversation. We really appreciate you, and we thank you for listening. Drive home safely. Have a great night.